resolution number 2025-53, resolution appointing Scott Bayley as lieutenant of the Mount Holly Police Department. Can I get a first? First. You have a first?
Second.
We have a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burgess?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Where is he? There he is.
That my mother and my son and daughter attended from us. All of them are back.
And please repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Scott Samuel Bayley,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United
and
States
the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
perform all the duties
of the office of lieutenant
of the office of lieutenant
for the Township of Mount Holly,
for the Township of Mount Holly,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Thank you. So I'd like to thank the town council, the leaders of the town. I'd like to thank Captain Spencer, Lieutenant Lelina, and all my brothers and sisters that I work for every day, showing faith in me and to continue to lead you. Job is demanding and tough. These three folks up here are my spirit horse when times get tough. There's a lot of important people, very important people in the audience, from former co-workers. I'm honored. Retired Sergeant Joe Byam was a strong leader in my young years. Retired Chief Richard Spittler, knew from my first day here in 1999, still today. Another great co-worker, retired Detective Doug Katz. And I'm very honored that your Honor, Judge Andrew Nisi, retired, is here. That means a lot. Simone, Lynn, thank you. Welcome to the Mount Holly outside afterwards. On me, have Congratulations, thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, sir. Scott.
Report for
Huh? No, here, you could get that neck. Your neck. Neck, you can have it.
What's that now? Yeah, they got real business. They got real business too. You guys come this way. We'll take a couple of pictures.
You gotta go the way the It's right, it's right.
Thank you.
You want to check that over so I can, or somebody holding it. Your phone is literally about, your change what you type. It's very nice talking to you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you.
Josh, do you have a pen?
All right, we shall proceed with the remaining of the meeting. Okay, we have approval of minutes from March 10th, 2025, our council meeting and our executive session. Can I get a first?
Motion to approve minutes.
We have a first? Second. We have a second? Roll call, please.
Ms. Astor? Yes. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus? Yes. Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we have a few appointments to make. The appointments to the Historical Preservation Commission, this is by name only. These are mayor appointments. And I will give the names of each individual. We have a Class A, Class B, and we have 3 individuals on the commission. And I'll do it and I'll follow in that order as well. So I'd like to nominate Cindy Goldsmith, Alan Hollowell, Amy Eversmeyer, Julie Gaskell, and Eric Johnson. Yeah, can I get a first?
This is a first.
We have a first, we have a second? Second. We have a second, roll call please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus? Yes. Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. Now we have an appointment to the Municipal Utilities Authority.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Jim Logan.
Second.
We have a first and a second, roll call please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
No.
Mr. Banks?
No. All right, we have an appointment to the Planning Board. We have a Class 2 and a Class 4.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Scott Bayley as the Class 2 council employee. For the 1-year term.
So,
Second.
we have a first and a second for Scott. Let's do a roll call for Scott.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
And we had, an opening for the Class 4,
This is for unexpired seat.
unexpired seat.
Yeah. So I'd like to make a motion to fill that with Richard Dow for the Class 4 term.
Second. Roll call, please.
Second, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Mr. Brown? Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. All right. Make sure we notify all those individuals
Yep.
that were selected. All right, so this is our ordinance by first reading by title only. We have 2 ordinances on the docket. Ordinance 2025-6, amending chapter 149 entitled Land Use to create a new health and life science district. And at Article 18, and to modify the related zoning requirements as recommended in the Mount Holly Township Master Plan Reexamination Report adopted by the Planning Board in September 10th, 2024. And you get first.
Point of information.
Point of information.
Yes.
This is only the first reading. All right, read the motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a first, second? Second. We have a second?
I just want to make sure, because I know we had a revised version that was not uploaded to the public, and then there was another block and lot that I had found this afternoon about 2 hours ago, and I just want to make sure that we are voting on the correct version. That block 102.01, lot 50.01 is removed. Okay, just because there was no revised actual text. Okay, and that was it, thank you.
Thank you. So we have a first and second, so let's roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we have an ordinance 2025-7, amending chapter 265. This is for vehicles and traffic, article 10, schedule 13, of the code of the township of Mount Holly to extend a no parking zone at the intersection of Garden Street and Mount Holly Avenue.
I'm making a motion to approve ordinance 2025-7.
We have a first,
First.
we have a second.
Yeah, second.
Okay. We have a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. All right. So now we have ordinance by second reading, and this will come with public hearing as well. We have ordinance 2025-4, ordinance amending article 21 of the code of the township of Mount Holly to address revisions to the compensation to be paid to the Mount Holly Municipal Utility Authorities Commissioners. And we got the first?
First, please.
Can we do a public hearing first, before we do it first, hold that first? And do you have any comments in the public that want to speak on this particular ordinance, 2025-4? All right, I'm seeing none, so bring it up, we already have a first, by Mr. DeFalco. Second. We have a second by Mr. Brown. Roll call, please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Burkus?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Abstain.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. All right, we have ordinance 2025-5, ordinance amending chapter 149 land use to permit delivery Class 6 cannabis business license, and further amend chapter 89A to establish a limit on the number of Class 6 delivery licenses in the township. Do we have anyone from the public that would like to comment on this ordinance 2025-5?
Maureen Field, is this on?
Yeah, push the button.
Push the button.
There you go. Yes. it's-
Thank you, happy Wednesday, happy Monday. Maureen Taylor Ford, 117 Grand Street, just curious, can you explain what Class 6 is? Because as a civilian here, I see different types of cannabis stores, I'm told that they're distributors, they're manufacturers, they're whatever. So can you explain to me what a Class 6 means? Because there's a lot of different buildings around town.
Yeah, good evening,
Thanks,
Mr. Taylor Ford.
Tom.
Good evening. This is a Class 6 license, is a delivery license only. To be able to, not sell, but to deliver, the product that's sold at one of the Class 5 stores here in town.
So one of the distributors, I'm assuming, way back there in the warehouses, was the,
No, just sales.
Just sales.
Retail sales.
So what they produce here, they wanna ship out? I'm not following.
No, it's like Uber,
Yeah, it's like.
or not Uber, sorry, Grubhub. Order what you want, they bring it to you.
Yes, sort of like that.
Uber Eats.
Wow.
Yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with the wholesale product that may be produced here in town.
So this ordinance that you're trying to enact right now means you're trying to limit the number of licenses, meaning the number of cars we're actually gonna have, or vehicles we're gonna have delivering this product?
No, you know, there's there's no actual limit on the number of cars that, so, Ford Delivery Service has one, right? I can't limit that you have 10 cars that may deliver the product that may be sold. It's just the, A, B, and C will be the only licenses here in town that will have the ability to deliver the product, yeah.
But that doesn't stop them from coming from a different town to deliver within our town limits, and.
I can't, that's a state regulation, I don't have that
All right,
ability.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions? On this ordinance only?
I had a question about the ordinance.
State
as
your
well.
name.
Jim Logan, 10 Brainerd. With all the cannabis locations located downtown, do we really think this is a good idea to allow delivery? Have we thought about the traffic impact that would create? Have we taken that into account? Has there been like an environmental impact?
It's only for one store. So it's
For only one
for
store?
one.
Okay.
So that's
So, and is it being limited to just only one
It's
store?
only for that one store.
Okay, and how many cars are they gonna have? Is that part of the ordinance as well? How many drivers they can have?
He just answered that.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Anyone else?
Well, I just have to say, David, yeah, 166 Red Compass Road. I just have to ditto what they said. Really, we have a lot of towns around here are knowing us as the marijuana place to go. If we really want to keep going in that direction, this is the way it seems you're doing right now. I don't think this is good for the town, but if you feel it's good for the town, and you feel that you're gonna get money from the taxes, 2.9, 2.8, something to that effect, I'd like to see it later on when you're reporting your finance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Patrick Gaughan. I work at Fuller Dispensary. I also own Gonzo Glass on Mill Street. I just wanted to say, as far as having the dispensaries in town, they have filled up a lot of empty buildings in this town. As far as Gonzo Glass is concerned, I've seen a lot more traffic. We've seen other new businesses open up due to the dispensaries being here. As someone who works at the dispensaries, the clientele that come in there are mostly older folks that have money. They take their product, bring it home, they come in from other towns and, spend money in our town. And they also, they hit the bars and the ice cream places and the food places while they're in town. I've seen nothing but positive change from the dispensaries coming into the town, so I just wanted to share my experience, my end of it, and I think they're helping a lot, and I support it.
Thank you. Any more comments in regards to this ordinance only?
Tom Miller, live on 66 Madison, and I'm one of the victims that you might have remembered from the last meeting and the last time Virgil took over Mount Holly and ruined this.
Excuse me, ma'am, only for this ordinance that we just talked about.
Okay, well, couldn't get in the building, I was locked out, but I am not for the marijuana, the growing facility that's gonna be right behind my house. A lot of people are not aware of the fact that those plants that grow the marijuana, that smell,
Does not have anything
Doesn't
to
have
do
anything
with?
to do with growing marijuana.
okay? All right, well,
Is that-
anyway, you can smell it for over a mile away, and I don't think anyone coming in and out of the hospital deserves that.
Anyone else in regards to this ordinance? All right, I'm seeing none. One more?
Yeah. First of all, Jeff Eversmeyer, 203 Broad Street, Mount Holly. It'd be nice if we weren't locked out. We've been standing outside for 15 minutes. We can't get in the building yet.
Jeff, is your question in regards to this ordinance, or?
No, I'm saying that, what are you doing with it? I think we've got enough marijuana stuff going on here. I don't know what you guys are doing.
Okay.
The marijuana ordinances or whatever, because I haven't had a chance to read it. I came in late. If you actually talk to the residents during the campaign, I talked to many residents, and most of your residents aren't happy about it. They don't mind the cannabis places here, but it's saturated. They think it's way overkill in our town. For a small town like ours, why do we have so many retail, growing, dispensary, packaging places in one little town? But we are known as everybody tells me that comes to town now, they says, you guys have a lot of hot places. So I heard somebody came in here last to the council meeting about trying to get a permit to open up somewhere else in Mount Holly. I don't know where that one is. So, but council didn't seem like they knew what the guy was talking about, but he said, can you please process my application, because it's gonna expire. So, I don't think it's a good idea to do any women's pot stuff. I think one or two was plenty in this town. Now we're trying to dispense it, package it, ship it. And I'd like to know what the total is. What did Mount Holly actually make last year? So maybe next year, next week, you can give me an answer, is how much Mount Holly's actually made from these pot.
130,000.
What's that?
130,000.
130,000. Okay, what do we use that money for? General budget?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Sorry.
It's already on now.
So, my name is Mike Novembry, I'm a partner in Mass Grown, cannabis dispensary. Just so everybody's aware, these deliveries, there's not gonna be a new building, nothing like that. They will occur, whatever deliveries we get in the system the night before. They will pick them up in the morning and go out throughout the state. That's it. So it could alleviate traffic, honestly. But there won't be a constant in and out, in and out, in and out deliveries throughout the day. It's only what happened the day before, the deliveries that were put in, the orders that were put in. They'll pick them up in the morning, and they'll go about their business. At the end of the day, what they didn't deliver will be brought back in and secured. Okay?
Thank you for that clarification.
And are they gonna be like an employee or is it like Uber?
All right, I'm closing the public portion for this ordinance only, and then we'll bring it up for a vote. Can I get a first?
There's a first.
We have a first, can I get a second? Second. We have a second, roll call please.
Ms. Astor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown? Ms. Burkus? Yes. Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. Good. All right, we have matters to be presented by the public. Members of the public are invited to submit comments during the public comment portion of this meeting. The council pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act will not publicly discuss personnel matters and may choose not to respond to comments made by members of the public during this portion of the meeting. However, the council will give all comments appropriate consideration and refer all individual complaints and concerns to the township manager or appropriate representative for resolution. Each citizen will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak in order to allow everyone an opportunity to express their opinions and or concerns. So how we'll open this up, we'll go by row. I'll call your row. Then you come up, state your name, address, and then you have your 3 minutes to end your comments. So let's start with the first row, please.
Good afternoon, Louis Lopez, 98 Leverage Drive. I have 3 agenda items, and the first is, do you receive the report finding of the Burlington County Police Commission? They released a report of what went wrong in this coming last election. Have you even read that report?
Are you referring to the county report in regards to the election?
Yeah. I know it's out there, man. Did you read all of them? Read it?
Didn't get a chance to read that, yes.
Oh, I was asking you, your opinion, each of you. Now you haven't read it yet?
No,
Huh?
I didn't get a chance to read it.
Okay. Second is, Holly cleanup day is, another April 22nd at the fire right here at noon. And the last 3 items is 47, 48, and 54. Could you explain 54 first?
Repeat the numbers again, Louis?
47, 48, and 54.
All right, 47 is with tax sale certificate for 84 letters.
Yeah, somebody assumed the tax sale certificate was that amount and assumed whatever.
Can I, are there elderly people or just regular, people living in 84 Levis Drive?
What are you asking, Louis? You asking who?
What's the question, Louis?
The question, are they elderly people or they just didn't pay?
I don't know who the people are. The people in 84 didn't pay their taxes, right? So those taxes now are gonna be assigned to a company, and they'll continue to pay those taxes.
Okay, and I think that remaining question 54. Are you gonna censor or are you going respond? Huh?
There's no censoring.
There's no censor.
No, can you clarify 54 for me if you don't mind?
What of 54 would you like clarified? Specifically?
More information?
This is an updated revised version of a decorum resolution which we had before us a few months ago. It's been rewritten and redistributed to the council.
My personal opinion is it should be increased to from 3 to 5 minutes, to let everybody what's going on. That's my opinion. I hope you could check it as comment. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Louis.
Thanks, Louis. Anyone else in that first row?
Hi, Nick Sedano, 47 Garden Street. Going back to some questions I had last meeting, wondering if there's any update regarding ERI's review of our historic, the rules regarding historic, whatever they had to do. Has there been any report that's been submitted?
They're still reviewing.
Still on it, okay. Has there been any outreach to neighboring municipalities regarding the truck ordinance that we had? Since I last spoke, I was told that you guys just didn't know. So I was wondering, has there been any outreach to neighboring municipalities?
Nick, I have started conversations with neighboring municipalities. I do not have an update yet to provide to anybody, but the conversations are ongoing.
Thank you. Okay, and then the last thing I have has to do with the reevaluation report, which when that was approved by planning, that meant that it was adopted as our new master plan. That's my understanding. So if I'm wrong about that, somebody let me know. But what I saw in there regarding tonight's first reading of the health ordinance, or health zone, it had the lots in there. So, I'm not sure what that means.
It's for the front door.
Okay, it had the lots in there, so I'm thinking that that's a contradiction between the ordinance and what the planning board approved. That's my question, is there a contradiction there?
Yeah, we didn't pass it to the blank board last time, because it was, Nick, can you hear me?
You didn't pass one.
Nick, the last time this was brought up, the ordinance didn't pass, so it never went to the
I understood
blank board. So now, this new one that we're talking about right now, this is the first, so in May, there'll be a second, and then it'll be referred to planning board.
Then that's not what I'm asking.
Okay, sorry.
What I'm asking
Master
about.
plan.
Yeah, the
Of
master.
September 10th.
Exactly, September 10th, maybe I should have been more specific, thank you. September 10th vote of the planning board passed the master plan. That had certain provisions in it, locks and lots, et cetera. And what I'm saying is that this version, this first version appears to not, appears to contradict or conflict with that. That's my question, has somebody looked at that?
Oh, that's it. Oh.
So Nick, I think you were on the planning board before, right? So you understand that between first reading and second reading, it has to go to the planning board for master plan consistency.
Okay.
Right? So they'll take a look at it. There's a possibility that it could come back and may not be consistent with the master plan. And we'll decide those issues at that point.
Thank you, that's what I needed. So it's in between the first and the second reading.
Mr. Sedano, literally like 2-3 hours before the meeting, we had an updated agenda and it has our resolution 2025-60 referring ordinance 2025-6 to come on plate board, so.
Great, thank
Totally
you.
last minute, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in that first row? All right, moving on to the second.
Hi, Amber Kobermas, 100 Madison Avenue. What Councilwoman Astor just said, I think kind of answers my question. I noticed that some of the resolutions are not in the packet that was posted online. So it sounds like that first one, the 2025-60, is referring that to the planning board. And then my next question was about 2025-61. If we could get a little bit of information about that, please, since that was in the packet.
Tom, you want to take this?
I can deal with both of them, Mayor. If you, so, just go back, on 60, as I just mentioned, Mr. Sedano.
Can't hear you, please.
As I mentioned, Mr. Sedano, the town council can't finally adopt or consider for final adoption any land use ordinance that deals with zoning regulations until it's referred to the planning board. All this resolution is, it's not something new, Ms. Astor. This is right in the municipal use law, okay? And we've had these resolutions on in the past. So this is just straight, right out of the municipal land use law. It's a requirement. It's really perfunctory. 61, we have a fourth round obligation that is a plan that is due by June 30th. Okay. The planning board's going to have to meet, the township's going to have to meet, and we're going to have to adopt a plan. And this resolution, if adopted, will confirm our obligation that's been set by the Department of Community Affairs at 41 units.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And I think it was just new, I guess, added to the agenda. It's not in the earlier version. And then my last question, just I know tonight's the first reading for the budget. Will that be available online once, like after tonight's meeting with the PDF? I know in years past we had kind of emailed Ms. Marnell for that, but it should. Okay, well, all right. Cool, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else in that second row?
My name is James J. Nelson Jr. I live at 193 Jefferson Avenue, Mount Holly. Now, you notice I'm talking loud enough where you all in this building can hear me. We cannot hear you in the back. Every time I come here, we can't hear nothing down there because this is not set up properly. But that's not my point. I'm here. My point is here to find out who proposed the land grab on Jefferson Avenue about the hospital. That's my first question.
That was proposed by Virtual.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Virtual.
Virtua. Who runs this town, Virtua or the town council? I repeat, Virtua tore down over 30 homes around the hospital with the intent of building something like a school or whatever. For some reason, there was a conflict between this township council and the hospital that they didn't build nothing. There's rumors of what happened about the overbridge from the hospital to the same-day surgery center. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about now, who proposed the plot to build a road around the hospital down Jefferson Avenue and taking 3 homes to include the VFW, which I am a life member of the VFW and the American Legion, which we hold our meetings there. Maurice Horn's home, which adjacent is the parking lot of that hospital. Carolyn Tice, that lives at the corner of the building, of the Jefferson Avenue, which is deteriorating because the sewer line or the water line is deteriorated. My next door neighbor across the street, Scott, and the VFW and Maurice Horns, they want to condemn it to rezone it to a non-residential area. If they do that, if you allow this to happen, the property value in them on Jefferson Avenue and Lois Lane will go down the toilet.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Just to make you aware, I'm not sure if you are aware or not, the last meeting that we had to discuss this ordinance on the second reading, we actually had a conversation with the public that evening, and we removed all of the residential units as well as the VFW from that ordinance. They were no longer part of that.
All right, I appreciate that information because that's not what I got.
Yeah, so the first reading that we have today has the new introduction with no residentials included, and the VFW was taken out of it. So all that's in there is only the properties which Virtual already owns, no other person.
So they're not rezoning Jefferson Avenue to a non-residential?
No.
Okay, thank you very much, I appreciate that. Next one is very important. We have a historical society here in this town. Go back a long time ago when they moved that building, that house, from around the hospital to over across the street from the hospital with the stipulation it would never be torn down. But yet, the township of Mount Holly allowed that house to be torn down. And that was a historical building. So what happened there? The last thing I want to talk about, we have in the maintenance department, I believe, a person that drives around Mount Holly looking for blight. People's not taking care of their property like they're supposed to. Has anyone in this township walked down or drove down 38 between McDonald's and Walmart and look at the trash that's on the side of that road going towards Walmart from here? That's a blight on Mount Holly. It's a disgrace that that thing is so trashed, it's unbelievable. And I appreciate it if you would convey to whoever's in charge of that mess to do their job. Thank you very much, and you all have a good Easter.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the second row? All right, moving on to the third row.
Vince Amico, 24 Broad Street. I'm a member of the UEZ board as are several of our committee people. I sent a letter, excuse me.
You don't have to hold it.
Yeah, I hold it. I sent a letter recently to the township committee to discuss or to introduce the idea that UEZ is a great organization, we're doing good things. One of the elements in our town that is really not getting the attention is our creek, the siltation, the problems. We're all aware of it. We're also aware that UEZ doesn't have that much money, neither does the township. But I would suggest that we form some sort of environmental commission to look at sources of income or sources of funding that would help us do the work that we have to do here. I think it's important. I think we've got a lot of talent in this town, and there are people willing to do this. A lot of information is out there. I just suggest that at some point we really sit down and talk about it. That's about all I have to say. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms.
Anyone else in row 3?
Good evening, Casey Party, 119 Mill Street. So, I remember a couple of months ago, Rich, when we were talking about ordinance 2025-6, 25, I believe it was 21, right? In an effort to semi-censor the public. And I believe that resolution failed, right? I'm wondering why, because I did say at that time, this will be back, and it's back. And I'm very concerned. You know how just like someone mentioned 2025, 60, and 61 were new. They're new to the public because what we see online is not what we see when we get here. And that looks like there's something going on, right? One of the things that's really concerning to me that if there was more transparency, people wouldn't be upset. And if people are not upset, you don't have to worry about your feelings being hurt. And as a public servant, your feelings don't matter. People want results, period. And so just keep in mind that fragility has no place in leadership at all, especially when we are in times that we are right now. There are folks that are losing their jobs, they're losing their homes, they're losing, just today, they're losing Head Start. Our school districts they're losing millions, $2 million in funding. And we have a resolution to censor the public. I want to know, maybe Tom, you can tell us, what is the difference between 2025, 29 and 2025, 54? Is it the same? Is it the same? 2025, 29, which I believe was from January, I think, and then 2025, 54, which is today.
I'm not going to provide any comment other than I think Mr. Falco, Councilman Falco already explained the rationale and the softening, if you will, I think is what you.
Correct. So I'll just briefly get into it just a little bit. So at the meeting that we had in January, there was a discussion up here regarding the resolution, which you came out today to talk about. That resolution failed across all 5 of us because we agreed that that resolution was not worded properly, it was strict, did some things that we just quite didn't like. So that went back and was rewritten to be more in line with what every other municipality and governing body adopts as a defaulted decorum ordinance, which pretty much just says everyone just needs to behave, have your time to speak. If you come up to the podium and you are using obscenities and pointing people out, we're going to ask you to please kind of rephrase your question in a more according way in public and proceed with what your comment is going to be. There's nothing in the document that's censoring anybody in any way, shape, or form. It is more or less a defaulted decorum resolution that's out there to make sure everyone behaves in the best ability in a public place like this, having a meeting.
So it's subjective, right? So according to, I might say a word that may not be an obscenity, but it may hurt someone's feelings, and then I have to reword that. That's censorship. That's what that is. So I really wish that you all could reconsider that. Folks are grown adults and they know how to temper themselves, but we need to have transparency, but we also need to make sure that we have public officials that can handle the type of stress that the residents in Mount Holly have right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in active row? Not? Moving on to row 4. Anyone else? Row 4?
Yeah, how you doing? Scott Hubbard, 191 Jefferson Avenue. Just looking for some clarification on the HL overlay issue. It's good news that the council has from what I understand, agreed to remove all of the residences that aren't currently owned by the Virtua from the HL overlay. Am I understanding that correctly? That is correct. Okay. At the end of last meeting, I think you guys alluded to that, but you said you had to go back to planning and zoning to complete that process. Has that been completed? Is that done?
No, Mr. Albert, Mayor said,
Go ahead.
I mentioned that to Mr. Sedano earlier this evening. This was just introduction. The council cannot adopt this ordinance or consider adopting the ordinance until it's reviewed by the planning board for master plan consistency. So there's one more step that needs to take place.
Okay. Now, could that go back to planning and zoning, and then they say, no, we want those residents back on the plan?
No, their task is very limited. They can't go outside of the bounds of what the statute says. Statute says that they have one task only: determine whether this ordinance is consistent with the master plan. Not should this property be added or that property. That's not their task.
Okay, so
respectfully.
So the residences that were affected or looked like they were going to be affected can comfortably assume that our zoning will remain R2 or R1.
Correct.
That's correct. Thank you.
Anyone else in that row? Moving on to the next row. Anyone else have comments in that row?
Hello, Penny Rosado, 125 Washington Street. This is my first time here, so excuse me if I don't.
Welcome.
I'm sorry about that.
Can you repeat your name?
Tammy Rosado. Tammy. I just came to see if there is anything that could be done on Washington Street, in terms of like the speeding and, anything along those lines with the parking. I've owned my house for 15 years and I've lost 5 vehicles to speeding and drunk driving. And my mom, who owns the house next to mine, has lost 15 vehicles over 30 years, just off speeding and drunk driving on Washington Street alone. And I'm not sure if anybody is aware of it, and I understand it is a county road, but I do live in Mount Holly and I pay Mount Holly taxes. But I have nowhere to park my vehicle except out front of my house. And like I said, I've already lost 5 vehicles and my mother has lost 15. That's a lot of vehicles to speeding and drunk driving alone. And so I wanted to know if there was anything that could be done for us right there on Washington Street.
We'll look into it. I know from about a year or two ago, we did the speed device. That was the first step, so we have to look into other measures to see what we can do.
Yes, because I have like videos from my camera where cars are like going past so fast that within 3 seconds, you can't even see a vehicle. So there's no way that they're doing 30 miles an hour, and I didn't know if that maybe the speed limit can be dropped even to like 25, because there are so many kids there. And the other morning at 7:45, I counted 15 vehicles that were way over the speed limit, and I would hate to see someone's child who was trying to get to school on time get hit by somebody because they're trying to cross that street.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the remaining rows that would like to speak?
Mayor, 203 Broad Street. I'd like to thank you for doing this hospital zone over it, taking the houses out. I think every resident appreciates what you've done for them. I think it was a plus for anybody in that area. So I applaud you for that. My next question is, it's getting to be spring, and my pet peeve for 20 years has been code enforcement. And I'd like to take a councilman, maybe the manager, and walk the streets of Mount Holly and point out some properties, some of which I've been noting for 10 years, that don't seem like they get any improvement. One of my most notable improvements was the Fire Note house that was falling in the creek a long time ago. I pursued that, actually went to court, saw the judge. And that's one of the most beautiful properties in our downtown.
But if you walk around Mount Holly, I don't understand why we don't do the town street by street. We used to have 4 code enforcement officials. We had 2 we paid and 2 police. I think now we have 1. But if you want to, I'll be happy to walk with the mayor or the township manager. But it seems like I'm going to actually open the stuff and find out whether any citations have been written in the last 5 years. Now, Frank did some phenomenal jobs on those houses he's working on. Those were on my list 15 years ago. For 15 years, I've been complaining to the township about code enforcement on those homes. And I've got the paperwork sitting in files. And you see where they got to, and it's lack of code enforcement. Same with vacant, I don't know why we did this vacant property fee. That's another, this resolution for vacant properties. Because it seems like we don't collect any money for vacant properties. We're supposed to, and then we don't lien them. I don't know why we even have the ordinance, because you guys revisited it about 5 years ago and changed the fines and everything else in there. And still doesn't, I don't think we ever collected. I've asked for it, but it's clear we don't know if anybody's ever paid it. So why do we have an ordinance that we don't enforce? Why do we have township housing ordinances? I mean, I've got plenty of citations in my life, and I don't think my properties are some of the worst. So I'd like to walk out, I'd pick a councilman. I'm going away for 2 weeks. When I get back, I'd like to walk the streets, show you, these aren't properties that are not in need. These properties are just so neglected that we're gonna have the same thing. And if Frank doesn't come and save them at the end, they won't be here. They will not be here. So somebody's gotta step on the council and get with the manager, because he's in charge of housing, and get these houses fixed. But I give you a dozen right off the top that have been on my list for 10 years, and I haven't seen any improvements, not even paint. So I will welcome anybody to reach out to me, and I'll walk to the town with them. And then we'll get the township manager involved in our code enforcement. Because I think the only one the fire note happened, I had them in court. I went to court, I told the judge, the guy's playing you. And then he came back 3 months later, hadn't done anything. So then he finally sold it, then he didn't want to pay his fines. And I think the judge, I don't know whether he paid him or not, or he just forgave him. But that's when Tom Cherrier fixed that property. We need more of that. You walk around the town, you guys, it's sad, and especially our main streets. You look what Frank did on Washington Street. If he hadn't come along, they wouldn't even be there. So another $50,000 a year in taxes that would be there. They'd be gone, we'd demolish it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Maureen Taylor Ford, 117 Grand Street. Happy Monday again. Just quickly, I want to follow what we just said about the code enforcement. I must be the oddball out because I seem to always get an anonymous code enforcement when they drive past my house. I'm always getting, when I call and ask who put a code enforcement, I'm told it's anonymous. So obviously there's somebody driving around town, and obviously maybe because I'm here too much, they just want to give me a code enforcement. Brings me to the next question. Is there paperwork that can say, like, I have to have work done on my home? This is why I got a code enforcement the last time. I was having work done on my house, I had a flood in my basement, I had things out, I live on the main road, and somebody nicely called code enforcement on me. So, is there paperwork for that I can declare that I have work being done on my house, so I don't have to get code enforcement? Following up with what Jeff said, Mr. Mayor, when you first got sworn in 2 years ago over there, and I asked you, I said, have you toured this town? You're not from Mount Holly, neither am I. Have you toured this town? Who up there has went to every piece of this 2.5 mile big town? Who's been down there at Cake's Track? Who? I mean, you guys, you go up here, you get your votes up here. What are the other places that you frequent in this town? That's it. Moving right along, my question is concerning, first, the lockout. People said they were locked out. What are we gonna do about that? Something has to be done about that. Something has to be done about that. People cannot always get to the meeting on time. It's not fair. As a physically engaged, active citizen that I am, my concern is, I've been to a couple of meetings in different towns. Mount Holly is the seat of this county. Burlington County has how many towns? This is pathetic. Rich, let me tell you something. I was over there when you were in that building in the bottom of that police station. You know what? We had 2 meetings. We have 3 minutes to speak. Every township that I have researched gives a minimum of 4 to a maximum of 6, to include the county. But Mount Holly gives 3 minutes, okay? Why is that? What's going on? When are we gonna go back to something more? We are the county seat, and look what we have. Which hurricane did us in? Irene, Sandy, Igor, Ida, who was it that did us in? Because even though we were in the police station, it was tiny, it was professional. This is far from it, far from it. And we just keep getting hearsay, oh, the building is gonna be ready, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's my other issue. Next issue, Dr. Johnson had been asking about a human relations committee. For some time now, I've been coming back to these meetings, about 2 years, since I had my knee replacement. I went to Sayersville. My husband and I are part of the CERT team of Burlington County because Mount Holly has no CERT team anymore. We were CERT members. When I go to Sayersville for training for my town, I don't know who else in this town is qualified for CERT. You know, there's a big sign that says, "Thank you, Human Relations Committee." Same thing that Dr. Johnson has been asking for. Where's the ordinance that's going to implement a human service committee for this town, for checks and balances? And just quickly, if you may, if you let me, Rich, I understand what, you and I spoke about this ordinance, about the public comment, and I know I said to you, decorum is all good, okay? There's very few people that are going off in here outside of what happened a while ago. My issue I told you was, you want decorum from us? What about the decorum from you guys? What about you guys? You guys have no ordinance for yourself. You could be snappy, you could cut me off, I don't get eye contact, I'm slouching in my seat, come on. No, none of that, but you want all of this from me and everyone else, and I don't get anything back. I don't understand that. How could that be? You're supposed to be the lead of this town. You can't give me eye contact. Every time you're flipping through your pages, where's your work session at so you don't have to flip through your pages? You shouldn't be here trying to figure out what's going on at the meeting. You should know what's going on at the meeting. And I talked to you about this in length, Rich. I talked to you about it. When you were out there telling everybody, I'm gonna go back in, I'm gonna fix it. It's month 4. It's 4 months now. And I understand it's a slow process, okay? It's 4 months. I'm looking from the outside in. I don't see a whole lot. I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Kyle Miller, 66 Madison. Rich, when you first decided you were going to run for office in this town, you actually came by my house, and I spent a lot of time talking directly with you. It was basically like a pep rally. We were talking about the historic features of this town, all the history, the nature, the people, the great businesses in here. And one of the things I did mention, which I mentioned at the last meeting, was what Virgil did to me and a lot of residents in this town. You said you would not let that happen. We actually shook on that to make sure I had some kind of validation that would not occur again, which it already is. The other thing is, if and when Virtua gets the stomp on the town, what are they going to do for a better water treatment facility, a better sewer treatment facility? Because our town is not set up to handle that much more volume of water and waste. And the other thing, as far as what Tammy was saying back there, there is absolutely no excuse for someone to have that many cars hit that many times. There could be, that lot that's right by her house could be used for parking. That would be a great asset to a lot of people where they don't have to feel like they're going to have their lights snuffed out by someone driving fast down the street. And they could have flashing areas like they put in over in Medford, where you have flashing lights to try and convince someone to slow down, and or just have certain lines. I mean, maybe you see some states where they actually have wavy lines in the road, so all the drunk drivers do have to slow down because they think the road's that way, or they're that extra drunk. So maybe we can have something to save all the people in this town, because every street here, people are going too fast, and it is a huge safety issue. People have to slow down, and if we're going to have people in all these establishments that sell alcohol and marijuana, you're going to have to slow everything down because they're definitely impaired. And everybody needs to have a safe way to get to and from their homes. And I'd just like to have some of these questions answered. The other one I'd like to have answered is all the people on Madison, all the people on Washington Street, what exactly is our view gonna be when Virtua gets to ruin the town? What are we gonna see behind our houses? Now, there was something I heard somebody said there's gonna be a 70-foot wall behind our house. That's not gonna stop the fumes from a marijuana growing facility come, but what's gonna happen? What's the view gonna be? What is that picture? Is there anything written down? And who actually mapped out the diagram? And I don't know, see how they can fit everything they're proposing in these areas. So I would like, and everyone else that couldn't make the meeting tonight, would like to know the answers to these questions. Thank you.